Today we're making a Kolo Mee, a delicious Malaysian dry noodle dish tossed with a savory, fragrant oil and topped with minced meat. Traditionally made with pork, this is a fully non-pork dish and I'm using 100% chicken for this, but it's still so yummy, I promise, so let's go! The first thing we are going to make would be the shallot oil. I have some shallots here. You want to slice them thinly and as evenly as possible. This is what I have, and then I am going to be tossing some salt through. And next, I am going to toss through some cornstarch. Now, this is going to help soak up the excess liquid from the shallots. And the shallots is also going to get extra crispy. It's optional though, so don't worry about it if you don't want to do this cornstarch step. This is a vegetable oil, but any neutral tasting oil will do. Once the oil is hot, we are just frying the shallots that we prepared earlier. Super easy. You want to use medium heat for this because you want to be able to monitor it. Take out the shallots once it gets all nice and crispy and brown. Now you want to be careful that you do not burn your shallots, okay? I gotta admit that I kind of burnt mine just a little bit here. Oops, but no worries, we're still good with the shallot oil. If you want to strain the oil like I am here, you can. It's just to get rid of any excess fried bits, but it's totally optional. And then you have your shallot oil. Super easy. Kolo Mee uses a lot of pork lard. Now to replace that, we are going to be making some chicken oil. I have about 2 tablespoons of chicken skin and fat here. Using an empty pan just like this, you don't need any oil. We are just going to lay the chicken skin and fat all over the pan. And then we are simply rendering the fat of the chicken skin and the fat. Now make sure you keep the heat on the pan at super low. You can see right here how the chicken oil is being rendered already. Eventually, the chicken skin and the fat will cook in its own oil and it's going to get all nice and crispy. So this amount will render about 3 to 4 tablespoons of chicken oil, not a lot, but enough for the Kolo Mee that we're making today. Unlike the shallot oil that we made earlier, chicken oil unfortunately does not last long in your pantry. So you really want to make just enough for your noodles, okay? I think I left mine on the heat to render for about 15 to 20 minutes or just until the chicken skin gets all nice and crispy just like this. Remove the chicken skin from the oil. You can eat it later, by the way. It's so good. Yum. And there you go. This is your chicken oil. Now, let's prepare the chicken mince topping. This is chicken mince and I'm seasoning this with some light soy sauce, sesame oil, a dash of Chinese 5-spice powder, and white pepper. Give that a nice mix. In a pan, add a couple tablespoons of the shallot oil that we made earlier, or you can just use regular oil as well. Once it's hot, simply stir fry the minced chicken. Stir fry that until the chicken mince is cooked all the way through, and then your chicken mince topping is all done. Super easy. Now we are going to be making our chicken char siu. You can check out my char siu chicken recipe linked somewhere here, or you can simply follow along this version, which is simpler. And I'm using a chicken breasts for this particular recipe. I'm using just one portion and I like to slice it this way just so it will look a lot more like pork char siu. You'll see later on. First, we prepare the marinade. I have light soy sauce, dark soy sauce, oyster sauce, brown sugar, a hint of Chinese 5-spice powder, white pepper, and some minced garlic. Finally, the super controversial ingredient, red food coloring. Listen, you don't have to add this if you don't want to, okay? I've always said it's optional. Give that a stir and add the chicken. And let that marinate for a minimum of 2 hours. Overnight is best, but I only marinated mine for 2 hours. Once it's all nice and marinated, we are roasting this in a preheated oven of about 200 degrees Celsius for about 20 minutes or so, or just until the chicken is cooked all the way through. You can just poke a fork through to make sure the chicken is cooked. And then we are slicing up the chicken. Now this is how I like to slice the chicken up. You can see how it looks a little bit more like pork char siu here, right? And that's your easier chicken char siu. I still prefer using chicken thighs, but I have to admit that these aren't too bad. Okay, we're just about ready to assemble the kolo noodles. In a bowl, add the shallot oil, chicken oil, light soy sauce or salt, vinegar, and finally white pepper. And then we are blanching the noodles. I have my noodles here. I'm using these egg noodles, which are typically used for wonton noodles. It's not that easy to find kolo noodles here, but these are pretty close. Blanch the noodles in some boiling water or according to the directions on the packet, and then we are dropping this in a bowl. Slide the blanched noodles to the bowl with the oily sauces and then toss the noodles through. Once the noodles are all nice and oily and yummy, simply top the noodles with the minced chicken, as well as the chicken char siu slices. Of course, we have to have some blanched green veggies here. I'm using bok choy. And a final topping of the fried shallots, and then your kolo mee is done. This is not a spicy noodle, but I love eating this with a side of pickled green chilies. That's my fully non-pork but equally delicious kolo mee. I promise you won't miss much from the original. Give this a go and bye!